Hello, it's Evan. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful 8 podcast. And in today's episode, we're talking about my very synchronistic experience here in Portugal. So I've been in Portugal for just over a month now, and it's been nothing short of mysterious, to say the least. I came here on an expedition to and continue to do so, grow a company called Coherence Education. Coherence Education is an inside out learning program for kids. And we're building MasterPath School. MasterPath School is our full time accredited program that's happening in this fall, starting in September of 2025. And that was my main intention for taking the quantum leap of the one way flight to Portugal, which I've taken many one way flights, leaps into the unknown. I've done this time and time again, but that was my main conscious intention of coming to Portugal. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about how this has been one of the most synchronistic experiences of my entire life, and I really didn't understand the core reason of why I was being called to Portugal. So, long story short, we'll give you an 80-20 version of how I came across Coherence Education and Andrew Freeman, and how we got to where we are today, which is a synchronicity. Obviously, you know I'm very passionate about free energy, zero-point energy, ether technology, understanding ancient civilizations, and connecting all the dots, right? Tying this all into where we are here and now. So doing research into free energy, I came across a company called Mad Energy, Make a Difference Energy. And they have, a portfolio of companies that are making a difference in energy sectors. And there was this podcast, and the second episode was with a man by the name of Andrew Freeman. And I said to myself, I'm gonna listen. In wanting to help energy companies with social media, get the word out, storytelling, etc., things that I'm naturally gifted at, I decided, hey, let me tune in and listen to what Andrew has to say. Andrew was talking about coherence education and his call to transform education for kids. And there was one line he said in particular. It was to help them awaken to who they truly are. And that really, really resonated with me. I'm under the belief and the knowing, the feeling that, there's the oversoul, there's God, creator, consciousness, and it splits up into different perceptions of reality, divides the one into the many of the physical vessel, right? You're a physical vessel, I'm a physical vessel. We're in this limited avatar self, in this mind matrix, all with definite purpose. And we're remembering that every single day. So my whole goal as well has naturally gravitated towards helping people awaken to their true self as well. I think I've crystallized clarity on, especially now being in Portugal and the synchronicities that I've experienced, on why I reincarnated in this reincarnation. But that's for another story and for another day. So Andrew says, transform education for kids. And I'm like, I got to talk with this guy. One thing leads to another, phone call after phone call after phone call. I say, hey, listen, this is part of my life path. I'm naturally a teacher, right? Let's work together. Let's work together. I like shooting content in person. Hence where we are today. So that's why I came to Portugal, right? And 1 week into Portugal, what happens? A global blackout. Not global, but a European blackout. Portugal, Spain, I don't know if other countries, but 1 week in to me being here on a one-way flight to Portugal. I've been in Europe. I've traveled Europe before, but I've never been in Portugal, here in Lisbon, a blackout. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this is bizarre. I have no food. I have no water. I'm like, good thing I fasted for 3 days before, so I know how to do a 72-hour water fast if need be. Decide to do a fast. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is all tied into free energy, right? Our grid is not that secure. So there's a blackout. I'm in a foreign country by myself. Bizarre. The fear creeps in. I'm like, no, I have to stay. I have to see this through. Time goes on, and then I've been following the work of a man by the name of Robert Edward Grant for some time now. And I realized, oh my goodness, he's coming to Portugal. He's coming to this event called the fifth summit, the fifth experience. I'm like in Sintra, which is around like a 30-minute, 45-minute train ride from Lisbon. I'm like, I gotta go. I invest in this experience, get to meet Robert, get to listen to him, explain, some of the work that I'm doing, why I'm here. So this ties into the Fifth Empire now, right? We're gonna tie everything in. There's gonna be something that kind of is woken up within you based on my synchronicities. I believe that to be true. So the Fifth Empire is not a mere territorial empire. It's a spiritual and linguistic body which spreads throughout the entire world. It represents the ultimate form of fusion between material, science, reason, and intellectual speculation, and spiritual knowledge. So it's a pinnacle of all the work undertaken by the previous empires, which are the following under Pessoa, Fernando Pessoa, who wrote the publication of the Mensagem in 1934. So there were 4 empires before this 5th one: ancient Greece, the Roman Empire, Christianity, Europe, and now there's the 5th empire, which is led by the Hidden One, which kind of ties into the Age of Aquarius and how Archangel Michael is kind of leading the charge for this spiritual and linguistic body spreading throughout the world. It's very obvious. You see it in geopolitics, the economy is changing, everything is changing, right? So it's this Hidden One, Oversoul. Remember, Law of One. We're all God, reincarnated in different perceptions of reality. But the 5th Empire, led by the Hidden One, will unite the entire world spiritually and culturally, led by the Portuguese nation. What? So I'm reading into this. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed, that while I had the conscious intention of coming to Portugal to work with Andrew in coherence education and film content and build out Master Path School, build out coherence education, I was actually led here by the 5th Empire, right? And the work of Fernando and this greater calling of a spiritual body spreading throughout the world. Amazing. So these first 4 empires were the Assyro-Chaldeans. And it's funny because I have a dear friend of mine who is of Chaldean descent as well. He's of Chaldean lineage, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. And this 5th empire is the Portuguese Empire. Okay, so take this knowing, right, how the 5th empire, led by the Hidden One, will unite the entire world spiritually and culturally, led by the Portuguese nation. So it starts in Portugal. Blackout. Let's tie in the blackout, right? Why was there a blackout? The entire country goes dark, literally and figuratively speaking. And then after that, the 5th empire begins. On May the 4th, be with you. That's when the event was, right? And then May the 5th, 5/5, portal, the 5th empire is activated. It is here and now, which gives me chills. So before there is this great light, there must be this great darkness. The great darkness was the blackout that we experienced in Portugal. And now the 5th empire, which is as a spiritual and linguistic body spreading throughout the world, starts in Portugal, is this big light. So before that had to happen, there was first a great darkness, tying everything in together. So this is a very synchronistic experience here in Portugal. Another thing that ties us in too is that the The book of Daniel, this is actually where the Fifth Empire was essentially inspired. And my dad's name was Daniel, and I celebrated his passing, which is like it's always a celebration for me now. His name was Daniel, Daniel in the Lion's Den. So it's based off the book of Daniel, which is another thing as well. So to tie everything in, to wrap up this video, inspire something within you, the Fifth Empire is here and now. It's a spiritual and linguistic body that is spreading throughout the world, and it starts in Portugal. That's why there was the blackout, this great darkness, and then may the fourth be with you. May the force be with you. Also, another thing, I was editing a video right there at that table the moment the blackout happened. Do you know what video it was? It was of Andrew saying, we teach them to use the force, like Luke Skywalker using the force with the unified field, which is everything. And the moment that happened, like Luke Skywalker using the force, boom, power goes out. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I end up going to the Basilica, which, has free energy. So to tie everything in, this episode on the synchronicities that I've experienced here in Portugal, I realized that after going to that event, the core reason of being here, grow coherence education, build out MasterPath School, a new paradigm of inside-out learning and project-based learning, a new inside-out approach to education for kids. Our kids, if you're listening to this and you're my age, they are the torchbearers of a new earth. You know it to be true. Are you going to teach them the same ways as your parents taught you? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure is that they are the torchbearers of a new paradigm, right? They're growing up in a world of AI, which is crazy. But they have the choice to transcend the material and live a very spiritually driven life. So the Fifth Empire is a spiritual and linguistic body that spreads throughout the world, and it was activated on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I was at that event. It was incredible. Met some beautiful individuals. Something was activated within me and in Portugal as a whole. And now it starts in Portugal, the Fifth Empire, spreads throughout the world. So now we're going to see Europe change a lot, either in June and or July. Things are going to evolve rapidly. There's going to be a lot of revelations, secrets revealed. And soon the entire world, the entire collective consciousness will come to the realization of the spiritual side of the physical realm, which is very exciting. There's a lot of the unknown, but that's where wisdom lies. Well, there's wisdom in the weirdness. So this episode was on my synchronicities here in Portugal. And they happen every day. They happen every second. But essentially what this is now we're entering into 5D consciousness, a fifth dimensional awareness of harmonics and resonance and coherence. The fifth dimension is all about resonance and coherence. I was led here by coherence education and the Fifth Empire, which is now activated. And coherence education is changing the paradigm of inside-out learning. Oh my goodness. Talk about a trip. But I am grateful, right? An enlightened mind is full of gratitude and has no fear. When that blackout happened, no fear swept over my mind. I walked around 50,000 steps like we do here in Lisbon and was just so inspired about how cool, calm, and collected everybody was. And that's what I decided to focus on. Keep that in mind. Focus on the right things. Always focus on the right things. So, thank you for listening to this episode. I believe something was inspired within you. Integrate what you've learned and activate in the fifth. a fifth dimensional awareness of resonance and coherence, and seek synchronicity. Seek synchronicity. The fifth empire is activated. It's here and now. The synchronicities here in Portugal are immaculate. They're divine. And I am incredibly grateful for this journey and for you following me on this journey. I love you. Have a beautiful day.